Doctors are human too. Sometimes I love Dr. Cox, sometimes I cannot stand him. What an idea! My first thought was also, who was on the roof with him when he was pooping? Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Jess the MD. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are jumping into another episode of Scrubs, Season 3, Episode 13. Let's jump right in.
He has obsessive compulsive disorder, and he likes to start each day the same way.
Bink, bink.
By touching everything in his first patient's room.
Bink, 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 bink. Bink, 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 bink. Bink, 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 bink.
Good morning, doctors.
He touches everything.
Doctors are human too, and definitely can have mental health issues like anybody else. Obsessive compulsive disorder is actually fairly common. People have these uncontrollable, reoccurring thoughts, and then they will have behaviors that they do to subside those obsessions, subside those recurring thoughts. Usually people will have the urge to repeat these behaviors over and over again because those intrusive, obsessive thoughts keep coming back and you feel like you need to keep doing the behavior to keep those thoughts away. Sometimes it's something that seems as harmless as checking the stove before you leave, but instead of just checking it the one time, you're checking it several times because the intrusive thoughts, the obsessive thoughts are, oh God, what if I forgot to turn off the stove and start a fire in my house and then I come back to nothing? That is definitely an intrusive thought. Dr. Casey's compulsion is touching everything in the patient's room. That is probably a more gross compulsion because there are certainly things in patient rooms that are not clean and you don't want to touch, especially without gloves.
That, my friends, is a roof toilet.
I'm sorry, you said that like it's a normal thing.
Careful with this guy.
Hey, you the guy's been using up all my soap.
Yeah, I've got OCD.
Really? My grandpa had that. Every morning he'd take a gym sock, fill it up with nickels, and just beat us. That's OCD, right?
The bad kind.
That's not OCD. I shouldn't be laughing at that. That's not OCD. That's not an okay thing. But janitor always delivers those kind of comments in the most humorous way. Not okay.
I've had some major epiphanies on this old girl. See, you can't do any soul searching down there in those germ-infested crappers.
Damn him, he's right.
Listen, pal. I don't want you telling anybody about my Epiphany Toilet.
How am I gonna tell?
Yep. Don't even think about it.
And get this, he calls it his Epiphany Toilet.
He couldn't pay me to poop on the roof.
No one's offering.
You're like Dr. Casey. I think he said using that toilet would be like his Everest.
Using that toilet would be my Everest.
Interesting that Dr. Casey says that using that toilet would be his Everest. So there seems to be some level of feeling like germophobia, but at the same time, he's totally okay touching everything in patients' rooms. That brings up an interesting point. Sometimes these obsessions, sometimes these compulsions, they don't make sense, and sometimes they don't even make sense together. But it makes sense in the person's head, and they still feel compelled to actually act out these behaviors.
The reason I'm gurney surfing, aside from the fact that it's totally bitchin', is that Kelso shut down this whole wing.
Dude, I gotta go. Oh, no. Oh!
Ouch. But gurney surfing actually looks pretty fun, and I definitely would have wanted to do it if I was ever in a hospital with a fully closed down wing, which never, ever happened.
You see, a census said that hospital admissions dropped in February. The census was wrong.
Dr. Kelso, where are we going to fit these people? They're all sick.
It's not my job to take care of sick people.
Bob Kelso, healer.
Closing that wing saves us about $60,000 a month. You got that on you?
This is actually a theme that keeps coming back around. Bob Kelso has to make the really, really hard choices, and this seems to be one of them. However, I will say that $60,000 a month, if you are actually admitting patients into that wing, which it looks like they have plenty of patients to admit, I would expect that the costs would definitely be covered. It's a whole other story and a whole other debate to get into the cost of healthcare in America. Dr. Kelso, he's doing the best he can with all of the resources he has. He's stuck in the middle between administration and the staff, and I am sure that both sides hate his guts.
All right then, Mr. Tanaka here is fatiguing and he needs to be intubated. Any questions?
Yeah, Turkey's asked me to be his best man. You got any advice?
No, I don't. Not at this moment.
You know what sucks? Everyone keeps talking about how Dr. Casey's helped them, and he doesn't even know I exist.
So introduce yourself.
I haven't seen him all day. He's probably off trying to help figure out some procedure that's gonna save humanity.
Barbie, are you sure you went into his lungs? Because it looks like you're blowing up his stomach. Oh, damn it, his O2 sac's dropping. Get out of the way, honey, come on.
Even if you've done a procedure 5,000 times, there's no guarantee you won't screw up number 5001.
A few more seconds, we've been coding this guy. Take that. Barbie, as hard as it is to remember, but air goes in the lungs.
A couple of things here. First of all, when she actually intubated him, she should have listened to his lungs and made sure that she was moving air in the right spot. That is probably something she could have caught a little bit earlier. I think sometimes, especially when you're moving up in residency, you get to this point where you're feeling really confident, but it's just not quite enough and you're not quite ready to go out into the real world and be an attending. Listen, we can all make mistakes, and being humble and making sure to go back and check your work is what will prevent major complications from happening.
He's crashing. He needs to be intubated. Dr. Cox!
Oh, that's just dandy. I got a billion patients and no rooms. I got newbie pestering me for advice on how to be the best woman at Turtlehead's wedding. And I got a resident who can't do a simple procedure even though she learned it the first week she was here.
I'm sorry, Dr. Cox. I don't know what to do.
I'll tell you what to do. Get the hell out of here. I swear to God, Carla, if one more annoying thing comes my way, please just go ahead and extract some of that extra air out of Barbie's head and inject it right into my veins.
Sometimes I love Dr. Cox, sometimes I cannot stand him. He sees that Elliot is clearly struggling with this procedure. There should be some movement towards, okay, let's go practice on a dummy. Let's go make sure that you can actually do this, because the next time someone is coding, you need to be able to intubate them. Just shooing her away and implying she's just useless and she's airheaded, not going to help anything, just going to hurt her confidence. And this is a teaching hospital. This is not how residents should be treated. The unfortunate thing is that many times in medicine, trainees are treated like that.
Hey, Ace, I want you to find my gardener Hector a room. He has a mild case of cellulitis, and I need him in tip-top shape by the weekend. I'm having my annual lawn bowling tournament, and if anyone but Hector cuts my grass, my game goes to heck in a handbasket.
Damn it, old Bob. You know we don't have an extra bed in this dump.
Perry, what has two thumbs and still doesn't give a crap? Bob Kelso. I thought we'd met.
Find out you told anybody, I'm gonna beat you with Poppy's old nickel sock.
First of all, why would I tell anyone? And secondly, no one has epiphanies on the John.
Of course, it's so simple.
Oh, Carla, good. Would you tell Hector here that he can stay just as long as he likes?
Aye, Captain. Dice el médico.
When two people collide, a lot of things can happen.
Okay.
What the hell is going on in here?
Oh, hey, Bob, great news. We found Hector a room.
Dr. Cox making a fairly excellent point. He's trying to convince Dr. Kelso to open up that other wing because they need the beds. Dr. Cox is clearly annoyed that Kelso is preferentially treating someone that works for him, and there's so much ethically wrong with that whole scenario. In this particular situation, Cox is right. Kelso needs to open that wing and allow for more patients to be treated. That would also mean more staffing, which admittedly is kind of difficult to do, especially if you've sent everybody home already.
Still, the weirdest thing is when two people collide without ever being in the same room.
Hey, Turk, it's your brother. Good news, my business trip got canceled, so I can be your best man after all. I'm looking forward to it. Call me.
Ouch. Everybody in the history of getting married that has had a wedding party has gone through that, I am sure. Of course, to qualify that, if they have siblings that they actually get along with, there's a bunch of qualifiers, but I guarantee you that everybody that has ever had a wedding has had some sort of turmoil in some capacity, whether it's teeny tiny or huge.
I'm sorry it took me so long. I had to go home. Damn roof toilets got my number.
Can't lick it, huh?
Oh, God, no. I can't even sit on it.
Look, that problem I was talking about before, I can't seem to intubate patients anymore. I mean, I used to do that better than anyone here. Now the only thing that sets me apart from the other doctors is my beeper plays. That's the way, I like it. I don't know what to do.
It's just a piece of porcelain. There's no reason we both shouldn't be able to sit on it.
Yeah, about my career-ending problem.
We must conquer the roof toilet.
Enough about the roof toilet! Listen, all I've heard about from everyone is how amazing you are, and I'm not leaving here until you help me out. Damn it. I have to go.
That is a perfect example of how the obsessions, those intrusive recurring thoughts, can get in the way of your daily life. For Dr. Kevin Casey, a teacher in an academic institution, all he can think about right now is his obsession. There is a point with mental health where something can be normal to an extent and then become problematic. So anxiety, for example, it can be normal to an extent, right? Like as humans, we need to feel some level of anxiety. That is how we've survived. That's how we've evolved. But when it gets into the point of interfering with your daily life and preventing you from doing the things that you need or want to do in your daily life, that's when it becomes a problem. For Kevin Casey, it has clearly become a problem.
That's it. I'll just have to go and talk to him.
What an idea! Just go and talk to someone about an issue that you guys are having. I don't know. It just seems so crazy, right?
Hector's wife just set my drapes on fire with her damn prayer candle.
He's here.
I want them both out of my office.
Sir, there's a ton of empty beds right here. All you have to do is flick the switch.
You know how to do that, don't you, Bob? You just bend over and flick.
As much as this is actually really wonderful that he reopened that wing, Cox and Carla have to understand exactly how much that took from Kelso to do it. Because I assure you, it is not ultimately his decision. He has people to answer to, and he had to convince them, the administration, to be okay with the money spent to open the wing again. In reality, Dr. Kelso really does, I think, fight for the people, but not everyone is able to see it super clearly because he does have to make some concessions sometimes. My first thought was also, who was on the roof with him when he was pooping? But self-timer totally makes sense. I love that even though he's left, he still remembered that he was going to help her.
Look, Turk, I heard the message that your brother left on the machine. I want you to know, if there's anything I can do to make your whole wedding go smoother, just tell me. Even if it's stepping down from being best man.
The only reason I asked my brother to be best man was because I knew he couldn't come to the wedding. But now I'm screwed because his plans have changed and he's all excited. Dude, it has to be you. You know that.
It's always uncomfortable when two guys want to say something to each other.
Dude, look, you've been my best friend for 10 years, man. I love you. I know you since college, and I'll do anything for you.
Cool.
Solid.
What a mature conversation between two dudes. I love Turk and JD's relationship. Always have and always will.
You ever think there's more to Dr. Kelso than we know?
Sure. Is he in fact a latex-encased robot with real human hair and a circuit board where his heart should be? I can't rule that out.
You know, Hector told me he's worked for Dr. Kelso for 20 years. That's half his life. I mean, I know he looks 50, but that's what being in the sun all day does to your skin.
Right.
Point is, it doesn't seem like he hates Dr. Kelso.
Say, Bobo, is it possible that you're occasionally a decent human being in your life outside of this place?
Well, champ, seeing as you don't exist in my life outside this place, I doubt it's any of your damn business.
But he is I think he is a decent human being outside of the hospital, although if I recall correctly, there was a point where he cheated on his wife, so there are definitely things he doesn't do right, but I think he does generally have a kind heart.
We're out of time. He's losing oxygen. He needs to be intubated now.
Just let me get someone.
Now! You, let's go. Do it. Come on.
I'm in.
You see, this is why I wanted you to use the bathroom up here. If there's something you know you can do, whether it's intubating a patient or copping a squat on the roof, and your mind keeps throwing up roadblocks, just know you can drive right through them. And if that doesn't help, maybe this will.
I love that. Elliot was still okay. She was still able to intubate. The Epiphany Toilet did its thing. Kevin is definitely right. A lot of times our minds will throw up these roadblocks, things we feel like we can't get past. And a lot of times exposure therapy or just going through with it and doing it even though you are terrified is what's best, is what can help. That is not always the case, but many times it can be helpful. I love this show. Let me know down below what you guys thought of this episode. Leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. It really helps the girl out. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Jess the MD. I really enjoyed spending time with you. I hope you enjoyed spending time with me, and I will see you in the very next one. Bye.